Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is about this 1970 Monte Carlo. This car is from a Fast and the Furious set, and a while back I did a custom using the same casting, as you can see here. It's a what we called a dirty, beat up custom. This car was off-road in the back roads. So on that video, a few people left comments saying that they really like the casting, but this type of custom, the dirty up, it's not to their likings. So they wanted me to do a smooth paint job custom Monte Carlo, and this video is about that. So the first thing we have to do is open it up. I've already pre-drilled it, so I don't want to bore you with that. It has button head screws. Let's take them out. And people have different techniques on how they do customs. For me, before I do anything, is I pick the wheels and then I install the wheels. Once I do that, the wheels basically determine what kind of a paint job I'm gonna give it. So for this, I'm gonna be using these Real Riders, and I already can see that I'm gonna have to create axles or just glue in one of the corners. We'll see what happens. So the first thing that I need to do here is open up these tabs to remove the original axle. And the originals are out. There's different ways that I could go about it. I've showed you in previous video how to create axles and the different methods to go about it. So now I have to make a decision on how I'm going to install them, but first I want to do a fitment here, just to make sure that I like how they look. Let's see. Sometimes you think they're gonna look good, but they don't. And I think they fit this casting perfect. Maybe make it into a sleeper with a 454 big block Chevy engine inside to go racing on the back roads. So let me get those axles ready, and I'll see you on the other side. Oh, and by the way, before I turn to another shot here, make sure to check out my previous video. Simple off-road lift on this beautiful Willys Jeepster. I'll leave a link up here in the corner. Alright guys, we're back. As you can see, I already removed the paint and I got the axles ready. Let's take a look here. As you can see, I used the brass tubing method here, where I cut the axle straight the middle, cut off a piece since it was larger than it needed to be, and then I inserted both ends into the axle tube with some glue. Of course, before cutting the tube, I measure it, making sure that it was the length that I needed. Now, this brass tubing is, of course, larger than the original axle, so it's not going to fit in the original groove in the chassis. Therefore, you have to enlarge this area in the chassis. You could go and do this using different methods that I've shown you in the past, but today I use the same method I used on one of my previous video with the simple off-road lift. I have here a piece of the 116 tubing. I just go over to my stove, heat this area up, and basically just insert it like this, and do the same thing in the rear. Like mentioned before, a lot of people cut the tabs. I like to leave them in. It gives me the option of cramping down the axles without using any glue. For today though, I'm going to be using glue. I want to make sure that I have a solid axle and the axle doesn't move, creating a rigid stance. I want the wheels not to be able to move anywhere. Now the way I do this, let's start in the front. I place the axle, take some glue. Before doing this, of course, you saw that I had it all put together, and I made sure that the groove was in a perfect position for, I was doing it backwards here. Get a general idea of where it's gonna land, and you can see the wheel here is kind of tucked in, and that's actually what I want. If I would have made that groove deeper, the wheel would have poked out more and the car would have been raised. So this is what I want. So when you do this method or any other method, there is a high possibility that this is not perfectly straight and the axle might end up crooked. That's why sometimes you see customs where you put the wheels and it wobbles. I've talked about this in the past, but this is how I eliminate that problem. So I put the glue in. It doesn't have to be a lot. I'm running out of glue here. There it goes. Okay. So now one way to make sure that everything is aligned, you flip it there like this. You guarantee that the axle not only straight this way, but it's leveled with the chassis. The wheels are not going to be wobbly, meaning that one is higher than the other. So you don't want to sit here and wait for 10 minutes for that glue to dry. So I use accelerator here. Hit it. That should work good enough to the point where you can just flip it and hit it again. I like having handy a piece of baby wipe, or you can use a wet paper towel. Now I've already did a test run, and I had to enlarge slightly this area here, make sure everything will fit. But you can see now that I have a big blob of glue there, so I have to refit and check everything again. See? And I might have to either grind this down or make this area a little bit bigger. And most likely I'm going to work on this area. But before I do that, let me do the rear axle here. Get it over with. In the back, remember that the interior is the one that has the tabs. So I'm gonna have to enlarge the tabs. Okay. Same process here. This is a good thing about using the baby wipe. You can use it to clean your table at the same time. All right, so the wheels are set in place. They're perfectly aligned. We're good to go. Now let me make this little modification, test fit the interior, and I'll be back. All right, got my Dremel ready here. Right, let's try it again. And it's almost there. Just a little bit more. See the gap? Gotta see where is it touching. Let's try it now. It's touching somewhere. Make it a little bit easier. Clean this area off a little bit. I like doing this. Even though the glue is dry, it stinks when you clean it off like that. All right, let me get the other disc and I'll be back. All right, got the quick chuck. Here's another tip. Sometimes with these quick chuck, see, it's already loose, but it won't pull out. What you have to do is press in and it will come out. Let me know in the comments that if you tried grabbing the chuck here with pliers. That's the way it is. So now I have a thinner disc here. Clean the sides a little bit. Now it should work perfect. There it is. See? The big block of glue was a little bit thick. Now let's try out the back. See how we're doing. And we might have to do the same thing here. Clean it off a little bit. You can see by not cutting the prongs here, it gives me more surface for the glue to grab. I think that might be good. Let's try it. Let's see if it closes. And no, look at that. It won't close. So you can see we have the same issue here. I'm going to try to grind down a little bit using the thicker disc. Remember, on this side it doesn't have to be perfect if the axle is already glued down. Now if you were depending on this to hold the axle, then you have to be a little bit more careful. Let's clean it up a little bit. I'm going to show you another trick when you have plastic like that. But first, let's and I have to go a little bit deeper. That's how it is when you're working with custom. Now again, I don't need this because again the axle is glued in place. So I'm going to show you another trick. Okay, so again, the problem probably is somewhere around here. I don't need that. I'm gonna cut that, and we're gonna eliminate that piece of support in there. There. Now you can see sometimes all that plastic, it's hard to clean out. I use fire. It burns everything down. Be careful if you are a kid. Do not play with fire. And would you look at that? Perfect. Perfect. So it all depends on what are you trying to do. If you're gluing the axles to the chassis, then you basically don't need that top support. If you want to use the top support, then you go about it another way. You don't have to use glue. But here it is. Look at those wheels perfectly tucked in. right to the border of the rim, both sides, no wobbly, and it's perfect. And next step is the paint, and I'll be back. Hey, what's up? So I just created this template. I scanned it, created some flames, and then let's go over to the machine. The machine is cutting the flames on some stencil film, so we'll see what happens. All right, let me see if I can do this with one hand. Of course, I cut more than one just in case. You never know. And I also cut two bigger versions. I'm sorry about this, guys, but I didn't have my recording setup ready. Yeah, it looks like it's stuck there. I'm gonna have to trim it down with the X-Acto. So I'll do that and I'll be back. Alright guys, we are back here. Let's take this off. And before I continue with this build, I'm gonna run a test because the stencil material, it's kind of rigid and it doesn't really like to be contoured to curvy surfaces. So here's the template. You can see it, it's kind of rigid. I think it might work. Right here. Alright, so let me go hit it with some paint just to make sure. If it doesn't work, I'll just cut it out of vinyl. It's a lot easier to contour to all these curves here, and I'll see what happens. I'll be back. Okay, put all this to the side. And let's see how good did it mask off. Yep, I think it's good enough. Then this was just one heavy coat. I think it'll work. So let me throw this back at the paint remover and clean it up, and I'll be back. Alright guys, first coat, Spectre Flame Gold from Red Line Shop. Here it is. Now I'm gonna hit it with orange, and I'll be back. Alright guys, check it out. So you can see I left some of the yellow in the front and then cover the rest of the car in orange. Now I have to wait for this to completely dry. It's still a little bit tacky. Install the template or the stencil, and then I'm gonna hit the back of the car with this color shift paint from the Red Line shop. I'm gonna do that and I'll be back. Alright guys, so it's been about 10 hours I think since I painted. No, it's gotta be more, maybe 12. So the moment of truth is here. Let me get my other eyes on. Let me grab with this. Maybe I could get it. Get it. I think that's too good. The problem there is that oh yeah, I want to get a lot of the yellow. The yellow, it's actually the part of the flames that make it pop. Alright, so I'm gonna paint this and I'll be back. Well, ladies and gentlemen, take a look at what we started with. And now I want to show you the finished product. Look at this baby. I find that the color shift paint looks a lot better if you only do like one light coat and then another medium coat. If you do more than that, it looks purple. Look at this, look at this. Look at the flame, Spectra flame. Look at that, Spectra flame flames. I think it came out sweet. Look at the dirty Monte. And the smooth Monte. So for you guys that wanted to see a smooth Monte, here it is. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? And of course, subscribe and click that little bell so you can get notified every time I post a video. I feel like I should put it in the turntable. Yeah, let me get the turntable. There it is. Thing came out sweet. Now the smooth Monte can go cruising with the Impala. And this thing can go too. Alright guys, that's gonna be it. Thank you for watching. Hope you liked the video. Peace out.